Alright, we are rolling. Hello, welcome back to Hammerhead Sports Productions. I am doing my first tier maker list video. Now, I will be listing all 40 of these New England Patriots from the 2000s, from bad to superstar. Hope you enjoyed, because this took a long time to put together, because I had no idea how to use tier maker. Then I figured out how to do tier maker. Then I couldn't figure out how to freaking submit it. Then I figured out how to submit it. Then I had to fix some of the pictures because some of the guys' heads freaking got chopped off. So that was a pain in the ass. So I am glad that I am finally doing this. I was originally supposed to have like a partner, but everyone hates staring at lists all day. So this poor bastard's gonna do the whole thing by himself. Yay. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this with me, and we're gonna do this. So I'm just gonna get the elephant in the room out of the way. Tom Brady went to 4 Super Bowls, won 3 of them, set the single season TD record in 2007. It was the first and so far only quarterback to start 16 games, win all 16 regular season contests. And it was the closest to go on his second team to go with only like a minute and 20 seconds left. God damn you, Eli Manning. When I think he went like to 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2009. 7 Pro Bowls, 1 comeback player of the year in 2009. So, yeah. And I think he led the league in touchdowns twice. All right, next elephant in the room, of course, Adam Vinatieri. Kicked 3 of the most important kicks in franchise. Or I forget. Did he have 2 kicks in the Snow Bowl? I forget whether he had 2 kicks in the Snow Bowl. There was the rushing TD by Brady, which he did one of the worst spikes of all time, but it was so funny. I'm just gonna go with 3 at the moment. I can't freaking remember. But yeah, he kicked one of the greatest kicks of all time in the Snow Bowl. Kicked the game-winning field goal in Super Bowl 36 against the St. Louis Rams, which made one of the biggest upsets in Super Bowl history. Then he kicked the winning field goal in the Super Bowl a year later in 2003 against the Carolina Panthers in in my opinion, one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. And probably one of the most underrated Super Bowls of all time. That was a hell of a game. What do we do next? Let's do Bledsoe. Bledsoe, I'm gonna say he definitely wasn't bad. I know he only played 1 season and 2 games. God, this is a hard one. Like, if you were to do this list from the 90s, then I'd probably put him in the very good. But this is just basing off of one of his later years. Like, if you were to judge him from the entire 2000s, then solid. 100%. But judging him just off of 1 season and 2 games, I'm going to go with average, because that was Belichick's first season. He didn't really do that well. I think he passed for like 3,400 yards. Like 19 TDs to like 13 interceptions. It wasn't great. And then he started the season 0-2. And of course he almost died because of getting hit by Mo Lewis. Thank God he didn't die. I mean, thank God. But yeah, I'm gonna put him average. Who to do next? I want to do some like head scratchers. Because, I mean, there's a lot of obvious guys where you know where I'm going to put them. Let's go with Chad Jackson. Chad Jackson, I'll go with bad. He was a second-round pick, was supposed to be, like, the new slot receiver. He was going to be, oh, my God. Every time I record this damn video. I don't care. I'm gonna freaking record this, keep recording. Because I'm not doing another take. Yes? Why? Where are your skates? Oh, your skates are in your bag. What do you need to skate? You want them sharpened? Okay, I can do that. Bye. Alright, I am not freaking stopping this recording because this is my 5th take of this video. Screw it. I'll be right back. I'll freaking tell you in the freaking description when I come back. Alright, the boy's back. The freaking boy is back, baby. Oh my god, every time I try to do this video, someone freaking calls me. Say, screw it, I'm just gonna keep going. So, as I was freaking saying, Chad Jackson was the 2nd round pick. He was gonna be like the next David Patton, or or Deion Branch. That's what he was like supposed to be. And it didn't turn out. He only played 2 seasons with us. He showed a couple flashes, but he didn't do much. I think he caught like 13 balls for 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, because at this point I've memorized it with how many times I've done this, how many takes I've done this. So, bad. Okay, next guy. How about we do Kyle Brady? God, I want to, this is someone funny since it was like, Brady to Brady, touchdown, like a Rodgers to a Richard Rodgers. It was funny. And I remember, and then there's the story about how Robert Kraft, when he first met Brady, he thought he was Kyle Brady and everything. So, I mean, he was part of the 90s tight ends when they didn't make a lot of catches, but was still pretty decent receiver. I want to put him in the average. He was average for that one season he played with us in the 2007. Okay, next guy. Nah, we'll save him for a little bit later. Ben Watson. We'll say solid. He was a 1st round pick. Sadly, he missed he played in just 1 game in 2004. I want to say he caught 1 ball. And then after that, he had 3 really solid seasons with the Patriots before he went to, I think it was the Saints. He ended up there for a while. He was pretty solid. I mean, he wasn't one of the best tight ends in the league, but he was really solid. Sadly, he never really played in a Super Bowl, but he got a ring. But there's the asterisks. He only played in 1 game. But yeah, he was definitely one. And then there was that one really good play where he caught it on the sideline, ran through 2 guys, then was in the middle, ran through another guy, and then went for a touchdown. It was 60-something yard touchdown. It was one of the best highlights of the 2000s. And he was a very big playmaker. I think in 2007 he had 600 yards and 7 touchdown passes. Catches. So he was a very solid tight end. Good pick. Okay, next guy. Let's do Randy Moss. I mean, I probably just want to get this one out of there. Absolute superstar. After almost looking like he was dead, and I hate to sound like a broken record because we probably have heard this 100 times. After looking dead in his second season and with the Raiders, Randy Moss gets traded for, I think it was like either a 5th or 4th round pick to the Patriots. Sets the single season touchdown record, leads the league in touchdowns twice, has 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, became caught a pass in the Super Bowl that would have won it. I think he had one game where he caught 4 touchdowns in one game. I think that was against Buffalo. And caught 50 touchdowns in 3 years. Absolute stud. And I think it was like 3 or 2 out of the 3 years he was here was named to a Pro Bowl. And of course, he was named first team All-Pro in 2007. So, obvious superstar, was one of the greatest trades in maybe NFL history and maybe and definitely in Patriots history. And unless I can't remember one of the other ones. So, obviously, Randy Moss, superstar. Next up. Motherfrick! Yes. 9:30. Well, and we start at 9:40, but I usually get there by 9:20. How early? Okay, just let me know when you're coming to get. Tell me when you're coming to get me. Okay. Bye. Can people stop calling me in the middle of this goddamn video? You're just gonna have a contemplation of me just raging with my veins in my neck. Anyway, next up. Corey Dillon. Played 3 years with us, never had less than 700 yards. 3 straight seasons with 12 with at least 12 rushing touchdowns. Has set a career high when he signed with us when we traded for him in 2004. Had like 1,653 yards. Scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Led 2 very long drives in the playoff game against the Colts, which really iced the game. Scored a touchdown in that game also. So absolute stud. He should have probably been named to at least 2 Pro Bowls while he was there. I wish we could have had him longer. Okay, next up. Let's go with Matt Castle. Very good. Of course, Matt Castle became famous for when he started all 16 games for Patriots after 15 games after Brady got hurt in the season opener against the Kansas City Chiefs. He did very well, led them to an 11-5 record. Technically, officially 10-5 record because the first game went to Brady because of how much he played. So 10-5 record. And for some reason, we missed the playoffs. It was one of the most bizarre things where a team that won 11 games did not make the playoffs. It was one of the strangest things. So I think he threw for like over 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, like 15 interceptions. I want to say it was like I haven't looked at that stat line in so long. And then that parlayed him in becoming a $16 million quarterback. He did have a Pro Bowl season in 2010, I think, when he went to the Chiefs. But after that one season, he was pretty good since nobody thought, because everyone thought with Brady going down that we were not going to be any good. But with what Castle did, very good range. Just because of the magnitude of the situation, like nobody thought he was going to be any good. All right, next up, David Patton. Very good range, solid. Jesus, what the frick was his? I remember he caught Tom Brady's first Super Bowl touchdown against the St. Louis Rams. He never was named to a Pro Bowl. I think all the years he was here, he had like. Did he have a 1,000? I actually am curious. Did he have a 1,000-yard season while he was here? I think he came close one year. I swear, he had at least one 1,000-yard season while he was here. Yeah, he was with us from 01 to 04. Come on, just tell me whether or not I'm right. I'm sorry I have to stop the video to know this. Let's see, 2001. No, he never did it, but he had two seasons where he had over 800 yards. 2001, he had 749, 4 touchdowns. So yeah, he put us some pretty good numbers. So very solid signing. Like before that, before that he had never had more than 500 yards in the season. So boom. All right. Let's go. Rashay Caldwell, God rest his soul. Sadly, he died last year. Someone shot and killed him in a staged robbery. I hope they find the murderer. I hope, because he deserves to go to hell for what he did. We'll go. I'd say he was also solid for the one season. He led the team in, I think, receptions and in yards with like 700 and something. So for the one season he played, I think he was solid. Before that, nobody really knew him. That season, he lit it up. But then afterwards, I think he played like only 2 more years. So that one season, he was pretty good, and he was very instrumental in the comeback win against the Chargers. I think he had like 5 or 7 catches for like 80 yards, and he had a very big play on the game-winning drive. Let's see. Next up, let's go with Junior Seau. Like, this isn't a complete prime Junior Seau. Just remember this. This was him in his later years, where he was still all right. I'm gonna put him in the solid. Like, he was a great veteran presence. He was captain of that defense. Was still an absolute baller when it came to tackling. Oh yeah, and God rest his soul. And just so close. He came so close to winning that goddamn ring in 2007. He kept getting hurt. I think that 2007 season was like one of the only ones where he played in all the games. And that was probably only 2 seasons were like Pro Bowl caliber. But still, he was very solid, and he was a good fit for our defense. Let's go with Mike Vrabel. I'm gonna go very good. Of course, 8 catches, 8 touchdowns in the time he was here with the New England. I think it was 8 out of his 10. I think he caught the last 2 when he was with Kansas City, because he was part of the Maya Castle trade. Oh, jeez! Ironically, they're right next to each other. Jesus. He caught 2 of the most important touchdowns in Super Bowl history in terms of the Patriots. One with Carolina, one against Carolina, and one against the Philadelphia Eagles, which everyone remembers, with him just going like that. And he went to his one and only Pro Bowl in 2007 with the Patriots. We recorded like 11 sacks. Was one of the captains of that defense. His stout veteran presence. Absolute tackle machine. He was very good. He was underrated, a little bit underpaid, but he was absolute stud. Absolute stud. Next up, Teddy Bruschi. Very good. I know he only went to 1 Pro Bowl. He should have gone, in those early 2000s, he should have gone to at least 3 Pro Bowls. But it was just so stacked at the time. With Zach Taylor, I want to say, I forget, who played for Miami. You had Jason Taylor. Or was he just a D10? A DE? Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going to say Zach Taylor. You had Brian Urlacher. You had... God, who else was playing middle linebacker in those days? There was so many great ones. So he was putting up Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber numbers, but it's just that there was so much good talent that you had to have been like God level to have gone to a Pro Bowl, which he did in 2004. And then you had Snowy Bruschi, the famous picture. He was one of the greatest players in the history of the Patriots. Absolutely. Veteran presence, was an absolute leader, started the "oh yeah" chant in the locker room. Absolutely stud. No question. Very good. Let's go with Rodney Harrison, superstar. I know he only went to 2 Pro Bowls, but that was because everyone freaking hated him. Everyone hated him. If everyone didn't hate him as much, he probably would have gone to 5 Pro Bowls. Because 2003, 2004 was named to the All-Pro team. At 2003, he had one of the greatest postseasons. I think he had like 3 interceptions, and then sadly like broke his arm in the freaking Super Bowl, forearm. But he was an absolute stud throughout this entire time. It was one of the greatest free agent contracts the Patriots ever had. Absolutely. He was feared. I can't say it enough. Absolutely is a superstar. Matt Light, I want to say he was solid. He wasn't a Pro Bowl lineman. He wasn't like an always Pro Bowl lineman, but he was an absolute stud. Patriot for life. He was on the 50th anniversary team. Was named to 1 Pro Bowl, and that was 2007. Played for them from, I think, 2002 or 2001 to 2012. Was one of the best offensive linemen in Patriots history. Great leader, great guy, very funny. Let's see. Willie McGinnis. Yeah, no question. Superstar. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Number 1, he has the most playoff sacks of all time. He had 4 sacks in 1 playoff game. I think it was against the Jaguars, where he had like 4 sacks against David Garrard. I think it was David Garrard or Byron Leftwich he kept sacking. Had one of the greatest goal line stops in Patriots history against the Colts, and I think that was 2003. And I think 4 seasons where he had like 8 or more sacks. It was an absolute stud, pivotal piece in that defensive system for situational awareness. He was just an absolute force. If you ask any of them, even Teddy, you ask Richard, you ask Asante Samuel, Ty Law, he was probably the alpha of the alphas on that defense. Everything ran through him. You want to make a call, you ran it through Willie. You want to talk, you want to complain about something, you go to Willie. He was the absolute heart of that defense. Logan Mankins, of course, superstar. Was, I think, first-round pick, 2007. I think we actually got that first-round pick from the Deion Branch trade back in 2005. I think he was like this. I think he was the pick. Oh, that was Lawrence Maroney. It was either him or Lawrence Maroney that we were able to get from that pick that we got from Seattle. But anyway, stud, Pro Bowl. I think was he a center or he was whatever he was, either a center or a guard. Pro Bowler. Absolute stud. Was one of the best offensive linemen of the late 2000s, early 2010s. Absolute stud. Brandon Merriweather, great safety. Went to 2 Pro Bowls in 08 and 09. They had a short prime, though. I will say that. He had for how good he was, he had a short prime. Like, after those 2 Pro Bowl seasons, I think he lasted like 3 more years and then he was out of the league. It was really something. But he was a really good pick. Let's see. Deion Branch. Absolute solid. First round pick, I think 2002. As I mentioned, he was the only other guy to ever be named Super Bowl MVP besides Brady in all of the Super Bowls. Yeah, he never had a 1,000-yard season. The closest he came was like 980, and that was like 2003 or 4, where he had like 980. Like, he was a pretty darn good receiver. Then he had that knee injury, and like everyone's saying, oh, that was one of the worst trades in NFL history when he went to like Seattle. But then we ended up getting him back, and he had another 2 really good seasons. So, absolute stud. We had a great Super Bowl. As I mentioned, he was named Super Bowl MVP. I think he had like 13 balls, 434 yards against the Eagles. So he was a stud. Ow. I just cracked my jaw. Kevin Falk. Once again, solid. He was a do-it-all kind of guy. He could run, catch, block, and tackle. And yes, he is the cousin of Marshall. At least that's what I've heard that the two of them are cousins. He was Mr. Patriot himself. He was a really good guy, team player, just all around solid. He had, like 3 seasons where he had 400 or more rushing yards, and the same goes for receiving. Patrick Pass. I want to say average. He was a pretty good fullback. He wasn't someone to mess with. But if you needed a guy to block in front of you, you would want Patrick Pass on that Patriots team. He was a pretty good fullback. Okay, next up. Oh yeah, we haven't done Ty Law yet. Had one of the greatest, no question, one of the greatest interceptions in Patriots history, picking off Kurt Warner in the Super Bowl. Was an absolute Pro Bowler, now a Hall of Famer. 2003, I want to say he had 2004 he had 6 interceptions. And I think he picked off Peyton Manning twice in the postseason. I think he's like the only guy. I think he has the most picks against Peyton Manning. He had 6 in total, postseason or not. Absolute stud. One of the greatest cornerbacks in New England Patriots history. Damian Woody. Solid. Was a pretty good lineman. Went to a Pro Bowl 2002. Was once again another a stud. Okay, Antoine Smith. Once again solid. Had a 1,000-yard season 2001. Had another 2 decent years. Was was the workhorse of that 2001 team. Like they just kept feeding him. It was probably one of the worst moves the Bills did, was giving him up for those few years. But the Bills weren't going anywhere, so we took him happily. Richard Seymour. Man, I don't know. It's like I'm gonna go superstar. He was named to I think like 6 Pro Bowls. That was a 3-time All-Pro. Of course, he won the 3 Super Bowls. He had like 60 or 70 career sacks. Was pretty, and he served as a fullback sometimes. He even did that in the Super Bowl a few times. So absolute stud. David Gibbons. Stud. Had 2 very famous catches in the Super Bowl against Carolina and in Eagles. I think he had like 2 seasons where he had 700 or more yards. Was a pretty good player for us. He was like the original 87 before Gronk. Vince Wilfork. Very good. Went to a few Pro Bowls during the 2000s. I mean, you were not going to run up the middle with him, with how big that man is. I mean, you run up the middle, you were going to get turned into a burger, put on the grill, and then probably eaten by him later for his dinner. Just massive, very good all-around D tackle. He was like the one that really popularized the nose tackle position to some extent. Oh shoot, I made a quick mistake. That's Asante Samuel. That's Ty Law. That's Asante Samuel. I'll just put up Tyler, but you know why Asante Samuel's up there. One of the best cornerbacks of the 2000s. Had a great cornerback tandem with him and Ty Law. He's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame soon. All right, well, that was a mistake. Okay, we're almost done here. Stefan Gostkowski, obviously, superstar. Never missed an extra point during the 2000s. Was in 3% career for field goals during the 2000s. Went to like 2 Pro Bowls, I think, or maybe 1 Pro Bowl during the 2000s. And is now the Patriots' all-time leading scorer. And he was part of the 50th anniversary team and was on the 07 team. All right. Ted Johnson absolutely was a solid guy. Really good linebacker. Just all around good. Larry Izzo was very good. He went, I think, to like 2 Pro Bowls while he was here. Went to, I forget whether or not he was just it was a special team. I think he was mostly a special teams guy, but man, was he good at it. He went to like 4 Pro Bowls in total. Went to 2 with the Patriots. Was also a 2-time All-Pro with the Patriots. So very good signing by the Patriots to bring him in. Troy Brown. I'm going to put him in the very good. Because he had a career year in 2001, went to the Pro Bowl, had 3 return touchdowns in 2001. The blocked kick in the AFC Championship game against Pittsburgh. He's the one that picked it up and then lateraled it to Antoine Harris. 2006 playoff game. It gets intercepted. He's the one that strips the whoever it was that picked it so the Patriots could fall on it. God, what was the other thing he did? There were so many great things he did. Oh, he had that big catch when he was like this to get like 20 yards on the final drive for the Super Bowl 36. There was one other thing he did. Jesus. Then he played cornerback in 2004. And he tied for the team lead in interceptions, for crying out loud. So he was the do-it-everything kind of guy. All right, this one's easy. Wes Welker, absolutely superstar. Had 4 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons. We had like 100+ catches in the 2000s. Went to 3 Pro Bowls, and he turned into one of the greatest or the greatest slot receiver of all time. I'm going to put Mike Compton. He played for us for a long time. I'm going to put him in average. Terrell Buckley. I'm going to put him in average too. I mean, it wasn't anything special, but he was a very serviceable cornerback for us. He helped that. He really was a good guy on that 2001 team. Okay. Ty Warren. I'm going to put him in the very good. He was named to the Patriots All-Decade team. Went to a couple Pro Bowls, I think. A very stout guy. I actually forget who this is. Dave Copen. Alright, I'm going to put him in average too. Alright, last 2 guys, final stretch. Daniel Graham. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go bad. He was a first-round pick, but he never had more than 400 yards. He had one season where he had like 400-something yards and 7 TDs, but he never really lived up to being a first-round pick. So I'll put him in the bad. Though it's like, he was alright. He was alright. Now, Lawrence Maroney. I'm going to put him in average. And here's why. I know a lot of people are going to just say he was an outright bust. Ooh. He was a bust in terms of him not having talent. He had talent. He showed in 2007 where he had like 700-something yards and like 7 TDs. The thing is, he had that one terrible knee injury and it completely derailed his career. He doesn't have that knee injury. He probably lasts maybe 10 years and is probably up there with, who do I want to compare him to? But from the 2000s, like like a Ricky Williams. Not in terms of like sitting out like with the 1,000-yard seasons, being like far and in between. All right, there's your list. I hope I pleased a lot of people out there, and I'm like, once again, I apologize that I wasn't able to get. I just couldn't do more than 40, because I mean 40 is enough. So this is my list, and I hope someone maybe uses this list, and I would like to see how they'd rank these guys. But this is how I'd rank them, and hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.